Hi everybody, it's Joe from PrepAgent. If you guys could hear me, just state the city you're in, and that way I'll know you could hear me. Looks like we got Carrie from Lapine, Oregon. Awesome. South Carolina in the house. We got 2 Portland people here. Okay, so we are ready to go. Okay, let's just jump right into it. We're doing vocabulary today. What is a void contract? What is a void contract? What do you guys think? What is a void contract? Nice job, Rachel. A contract that's missing one or more of the 4 essentials. Good. So what are those 4 essentials? Ooh, do not get unenforceable confused with void. There is a difference. We'll go over that. Okay, what are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? What do you guys think? What are the 4 essentials? So, okay, so the 4 essentials are lawful object, consideration, agreement, and capable parties. Everybody write that down. Lawful object, consideration, agreement, and capable parties. And remember, agreement could also be meeting of the minds or mutual consent or offer and acceptance, So there's many different ways to say it, but you guys get the idea. All right. Is an essential of a valid contract have to be in writing? Is it essential that it's in writing to be a valid contract? What do you guys think? Does it need to be in writing? Brandy says, is there an easy way to remember that? Not really. Just some stuff you just got to remember. Okay. Writing is not an essential of a valid contract. Has everybody got that? Write that down, please. Writing is not essential of a valid contract. Writing is not an essential of a valid contract. People get very stubborn about this. I don't know why. And they'll be like, but these type of contracts, but in my area, blah, 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 blah. It is not an essential of a valid contract. I don't care if every contract you see in your life needs to be in writing, if every deal you deal with needs to be in writing, if everybody in your town says it needs to be in writing. It's not an essential. Okay? If it was an essential, right, this is going to prove my point, you would not need the statute of frauds. Does everybody get it? What is the statute of frauds? Who could tell me what the statute of frauds is? What is the statute of frauds? What is the statute of frauds? Statute of frauds dictates what must be in writing. So does everybody get that? Does everybody get what this clearly means? That if writing was an essential valid contract, you would not need the statute of frauds. The statute of frauds dictates what must be in writing, what must not be in writing. Does everybody understand that? We're not talking just about real estate law here. We're talking about contract laws. This applies to all types of contracts. Does that make sense to everybody? Hopefully some of you guys get that light bulb, like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You would not need the statute of frauds if writing wasn't essential to a valid contract. Because the whole idea of the statute of frauds, it dictates what must be in writing, what shouldn't be. Does that help anybody? Hopefully that does. Sometimes, when you think stuff through, you're like, you know what? That makes sense. And that's what I'm trying to do for you guys. Put it in terms so that it makes sense, so it's a little more obvious and clear, and make it less legalese and complicated. Okay? So now we know the statute of frauds dictates what must be in writing, like we just said. So if it's one of those contracts that needs to be in writing, which is many of them, okay, if it's one of those contracts that must be in writing and it's not in writing, then what is the status of that contract? What do you guys think? So if a contract needs to be in writing, according to the statute of frauds, and it's not in writing, okay, that makes the contract unenforceable. Unenforceable. Not void. Not void. Because as we just said, void has to do with the 4 essentials of a valid contract. That makes the contract unenforceable. And therein lies the difference between unenforceable and void. And an unenforceable contract can still have those 4 essentials. Everybody got it? Right, got it. I'll repeat that. An unenforceable contract can still have the 4 essential elements of a contract. Dinosaur said it great. Dinosaur, excuse me. It can be valid, just unenforceable. Okay? And the reason it's tricky for a lot of people, because what is unenforceable in one state or region could be unenforceable for another, and what makes one contract unenforceable could make a different contract unenforceable. All right? Has everybody got it? So it kind of varies on your region. But we're talking about basic contract law here. So we just got to understand the premise. So before you guys get into details and confuse yourself, and how many of you guys do this? You get into details that can make it confusing before you understand the basic premise of everything. And it's so important you guys understand the basic premise before you get into which contracts must be in writing, which contracts shouldn't be in writing, what's this, what's that. You got to understand the basic premise of what it all means. And I really want you guys to do that as you study. You know, think of it as like a foundation to a pyramid. You got to understand the basic premise before you get into details and examples and all those different things. So, an unenforceable contract is one that must be in writing and it's not. What's another thing that can make a contract unenforceable? What's another thing that we learn through when we study for the exam that can make the contract unenforceable? So there's writing. Certain contracts must be in writing. What's another one? Time. Nice job, Marta. Time would make it unenforceable. Time. And what statute is that? What statute dictates time? The statute of limitations. The statute of limitations. Good. Some of you guys are writing duress. That makes the contract voidable, meaning you could void out the contract. Okay? So what I was looking for there is limitations. Time and writing are not one of the 4 essentials of a valid contract. Okay? So hopefully that clarifies what makes a contract unenforceable and what makes it void. Okay, unenforceable contracts are still contracts. They're just not enforceable. Where if it lacks one of those essentials, it's no contract at all. All right? I know that confused a lot of people, so hopefully that helps clarify. Some of you guys I saw were writing for Adrian. He is not here today because today is Veterans Day, and Adrian is a veteran. He served in our military. He served in the Navy. So make sure you thank him for his service tomorrow when he comes back. But obviously, as a veteran, there's no way we were going to have him work today. So we gave him the day off today. So you will not be hearing from Adrian today. Hopefully he's doing something fun. But tomorrow when he gets back, you could shower him with love and admiration because he's awesome. Yeah, Adrian was a Navy guy. So tomorrow you got to write thanks, Adrian, because he's not here today. So that would mean that 1/3 of PrepAgent are veterans. 1/3 of the company PrepAgent are veterans. There's only 3 of us. Okay, moving right along. Actual fraud. What is actual fraud? Actual fraud is straight up lying. Straight up lying. Straight up lying. Whereas constructive fraud is lying without intention. Nice job, everybody. Non-conforming use. What is non-conforming use? What do you guys think? Non-conforming use. So non-conforming use is an appraisal term for when you're doing something that does not comply with zoning. One reason you could do that is because maybe you were grandfathered in. Nice job, Carly's Learning Channel. You could be grandfathered in, or you could have given a variance. There's different reasons. You could have been granted non-conforming use. Fee simple defeasible. Fee simple defeasible. Fee simple defeasible. That means there's a condition on the property where you can lose the property. It means you own the property with a condition. Good. If you violate that condition, you lose the property. An example would be like selling alcohol or something. What's a cooperative? A cooperative, also known as a co-op. In the Navy. Agent always tells me not to sing that song when he's here, so I just sang it because he's not here. Okay, so cooperative is you have condos and co-ops, right, guys? So I like to say a condo, you own 1 of the 10 units. Co-op, you own 1/10 of all 10 units. What they do is they form a corporation and you get shares of that corporations. Now, obviously, the point of corporation is property ownership, okay? So that's how they form it, so you can have a percentage of everybody's property. And that's why these co-ops tend to be a lot smaller than big condominium complexes, because it's a much tighter circle. And you actually have to get approved by everybody to buy property in that co-op for the simple reason you're buying a piece of their property as well, not just the place you live. Does that make sense? Everybody right? Makes sense, Joe. Who here can name a franchise? Can name a franchise? Everybody name a franchise. Who can name a franchise? Century 21, good. Keller Williams, excellent. Eagles football is a franchise? Really? I see some of you guys naming like Subway, Sonic, Dunkin' Donuts. Some of you guys need to get breakfast. You guys' head is in the wrong place. What about Keller Williams, Remax, some of these other ones that people are naming? A lot of you guys are naming real estate companies. Good job. High five to you guys naming the real estate company. You guys naming the food. It's time for lunch, I believe. So most residential real estate companies are franchises. What does that mean? So some of you guys named Remax, for example. You could buy a Remax office, okay? And you just have to function under their marketing plan. That'd be the red, the blue, that little balloon thing. And you got to function under their system. But if you like their system, you could buy a location and you would own it. You just have to agree to function under their marketing plan to keep the brand consistent, okay? Same is true of these other ones. Why is that important to know? Well, this explains why it drives me nuts when people say, should I work for Remax, Keller Williams, Century 21, Coldwell Banker? And the reason that drives me nuts is because each one of them can be run differently. The Keller Williams in Miami could have a different feel than the Keller Williams in Los Angeles. Now, they may both have the same marketing plan because it's a franchise, same colors and whatnot, but the people you'll be dealing with on a day-to-day basis are different. They may not have the same, style of running. They may not be as helpful, or maybe they're a lot more helpful. And that's why I always tell people, when you choose which brokerage to work for, it's not about the name on the front door. It's about the people you'll be in contact with every day who will be guiding in your real estate career and helping you when you're in trouble or kind of have a big dilemma. Who are those people, and in your gut, do you feel comfortable with them? So it doesn't matter, big firm, small firm, big commission split, small commission split, big company, small company. It matters about that people you'll be working with. So I don't care if they have the best training program in the world, the biggest name, the most beautiful desks. If you don't like that person that you have to go to on a day-to-day basis, it's not going to work. At the same time, if it's like a old building with crappy desk and not a great training program, but that person you're answering to is a stellar person who is good ethics and is willing to give you their time, energy, and really show you the way of how to do things, then that's where you got to go. Because that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. Okay. So a franchise is a marketing plan. Congrats, Julian Guzman. Way to go. Is it Julian or Julian? Avulsion. Avulsion. What is avulsion? Avulsion. Avulsion is the tearing away of land by sudden water, such as a dam breaking would be an example. Quick, help me out. I'm buying a condo in a building, and on one side, I have a view of the ocean, and the other side, there's views of mountains. Which would you guys buy? The mountain view or the ocean view? They're both very pretty. I can't go wrong. Would you guys prefer ocean view or mountain view? I said they're both pretty. This is mountain view. I can see activity, people doing things. Ocean view, it's just the blue, although it is pretty. What's weird about ocean views, not to go on a tangent, but when it gets dark, it just looks like complete darkness. Whereas mountain view, you could see some people's lights. You can see some activity. When you look out in the ocean at night, it just looks like a wall of dark. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Latches. What's a latches? Ooh, that is true, Brandy. I didn't think of that. The moon is pretty. Or maybe I should just get the penthouse and see both views. But that gets expensive. Latches are an unnecessary delay. Okay, so remember, latches, delay. Antitrust laws. What is that? Antitrust laws. What are antitrust laws? Antitrust laws promote free market competition. Good. What we're talking about is the Sherman Antitrust Act. Can you guys give me examples of violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act? Can you guys give me examples of violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act? Young, I don't know if I said that correctly. I apologize if I did not. She said no price fixing. That's a great example of it. And what she's talking about there is it legal for an agent to tell somebody who's listing their property, you know what, it's 5%. It's like 5 to 6%. 6% maybe, 5%, but that's what it is in the area. That's what's standard. It's 5 to 6%. So you can't go below 5% because the area is just 5 to 6%. It's in that range. I could go as low as 5, maybe we could go up to 6, but that's what it is. Can they do that in a community? No, they cannot do that. Do agents do that? All the time. They always break the law. All those agents who say this exam is not relevant to what they actually do sit there and break the law all the time. Okay, so that would be price fixing. Everybody in the community cannot agree to a certain price. But now, if that agent said, well, in my brokerage, it's 5 to 6%. In my Keller Williams office here in Burbank or wherever it may be, it's 5 to 6%. That's what we all do. So if you're going to work with somebody in my office, that's what it is. Can they do that? Is that legal? What do you guys think? So in that second example, could they do that? And the answer is yes, because it's in the same company. Its brokerages need to compete with other brokerages. If all the agents are in the same brokerage, well, then they could all agree to kind of have the same structure. Remember that franchise we spoke about, that marketing plan? Well, that's part of it. They could say, if you buy a Keller Williams office or a Remax, whatever it is, then everybody's got to charge no less than 5%. That's the deal if you're going to work with us. They could do that because it's in that brokerage. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's actual rule of Keller Williams, just throwing that out there. I was just trying to give an example, so don't hold me to that, but you get the idea. They could do that. Can you give me another example of violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act? So price fixing is one. What's another example? Who's got another example of violations of the Sherman Antitrust Act? So group boycotting, nice job, Brandy. That would be like if Brandy passed her exam and everyone in the community was like, nobody worked with Brandy. I don't care if she brings the best buyer to your property ever. Nobody talked to her. And when she goes to like networking functions, let's all like take the hors d'oeuvres and not let her have one. Screw her. That'd be group boycotting. Okay. Another one would be market allocation. So that would be like, I'm going to take the south side of town, you take the north. If your client wants to come to the south side of town, you got to give them to me and vice versa. You don't come in my area and I won't go in yours. Okay, because that limits competition. Basically, anything that limits competition, okay, is violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. I see some of you wrote redlining. That is a violation of federal fair housing. Okay, that's a violation of the Fair Housing Act of 1968 because that has to do with discrimination. And just in case you guys don't know, it has to do with discrimination when doing financing because you're doing financing only to certain areas based upon the racial and ethnic composition of that area. Has everybody got that? So the Sherman Antitrust Act has to do with promoting free market competition. The Federal Fair Housing Act has to do with preventing discrimination. Has everybody got it? Right? Got it. Okay, what is plottage? What is plottage? Who here can tell me what is plottage? Plottage is when you pool properties together so the value goes up more. Mark Newman said it great. 1 + 1 = 3. So for a simplified example, you have a parking lot and you have a restaurant. Separately, they're not worth that much. But if you bring them together, they're both worth a lot more because people want to park there to go to the restaurant, and people want to go to the restaurant because there's somewhere to park. Okay, so 1 + 1 = 3. So the combination of two or more properties together is greater than the combination of them separately. Hold harmless clause. What is the hold harmless clause? Hold harmless clause. What do you guys think? Hold harmless clause is there to prevent like real estate getting in trouble. So it basically frees them of certain liabilities. That's the major point of that. Okay. Sale leaseback. Sale leaseback. What is that one? What is a sale leaseback? A sale leaseback. A sale leaseback would be when the vendor becomes the lessee. Basically, you sell your property and you become a tenant of the new owner. Why would you do that? Well, for a number of reasons. Sometimes you think having the cash is better than having it in the property. Because when your money's in real estate, the real estate is not very liquid, meaning it can't be turned into cash very easily. And if you have a thriving business, which you really believe in and needs more money, you believe that money could work for you better in your business than sitting in the real estate because your money could do a lot more for you. And it also depends on where the stock market is, maybe. So for example, if you have the money in your real estate and it's only increasing very little and you're paying $1,000 a month in rent potentially, but you could invest it and you could get like 18% return on that money, you may say, you know what? I'll make more money by putting it in stocks than I would in real estate. And obviously, I don't know what you guys think is better. You would talk to a financial advisor about doing that, not me. But you guys get the idea. It's not always the best idea to have your money in real estate. Okay. Interest. What is interest? Interest is the charge for the privilege of using someone else's money. It's essentially rent on money, the cost of borrowing money. And last but not least, redlining. What is redlining? We went over this before. Redlining is what do you guys think? It's a fair housing violation where they dictate who money is lent to based upon discriminatory practices. It's a violation of the Fair Housing Act of 1968. Okay, we'll do one more. Holographic will. What does holographic will mean? Holographic will. Real quick, who can answer that quickly? A holographic will just dictates which is in writing. It's when you put a holographic will only in writing. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have a great day. Tomorrow we'll be back at 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. When Adrian comes back tomorrow, remember to thank him for his service. He is a veteran who served our country honorably. And today is Veterans Day. It's why he's not here today. So when he's back tomorrow, make sure to shower him with gratitude. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.